Welcome to the Newcomers Podcast, people, where I explore what it means to be an immigrant with immigrants like myself. Today, I'm talking with Dapo Bankole, who IT project manager, just launched a program called Mentorfy. But I think the most interesting part about his story is he had this TEDx talk where he talks about his immigrant journey, and it went viral. But the reason why you should listen to this is because I asked him. Look, the TEDx talk was polished and had all the panache. And I'm saying, can you tell me the real story behind the TEDx talk? Enjoy. You had this TEDx talk that is, I feel like that TEDx talk is going to be an evergreen viral piece. Because honestly, I think the first time I watched it, I was like, this dude really captures the thing. And I'm just thinking about what I said now, evergreen viral. Like that would be actually sad because that would mean Canada hasn't solved the problems you mentioned in there. Thinking about that thing right now. I mean, but the sad part is that that talk is 2 years now and it's still relevant today. What I really want to explore with you is the story behind the talk, because that talk was the polished version of the conversation. You delivered it with poise and panache, and you stood and you talked, and I want to understand the Dapo behind that story. Like, what led you to decide to do that honestly? Like, because man, I was like, what I kept thinking when I watched it was like, I wonder what that was compressed in this. Just
Very true. No, very, very true. Very true. That's a serious question, and for sure, I think you really captured. Yeah, I think you got me there because number one, let me start this way. I give it to so with the TEDx talk. That was my first one anyway. You have a team of coaches that help you with with your delivery, but beyond that, you're also assigned an individual coach. So one person, one speaker to one coach as well.
Oh,
right?
nice.
So I give it to all these people, and of course the speakers as well, because we continue to throughout the period we give each other feedback. It's left to you, do whatever you want with the feedback, but they just tell you as it is. So they really helped me. And like any speech or anything, any project, it feels like a baby. It feels like your baby, right? And it's my journey, it's my experience, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes the feedback that I got felt like people were challenging or questioning my story or my experience.
Exactly.
So it felt a bit, sometimes I felt like, how dare you? Like, how can, that kind of a thing. But at the end of the day, I had to take a step back and I realized that, wait, if they're asking these questions, that means I'm not communicating. That means I'm just passing across, I don't know, whatever, sound bites and emotional things. So I had to learn how to actually communicate with precision as much as possible. But what's the story behind it? And you said it's a patch one. I'll tell you. Where it's polished, it's everything. You're right. The fact behind that, the true story behind the TEDx talk was very emotional for me. So much so, multiple times during our training and rehearsal, I choked up in tears. Even to what if you watch that
Yes,
TEDx
I know.
talk,
I
so
know that time.
towards the end, there was I got
you slowed down a bit.
I got a bit emotional. Because number one, again, it's my story, my journey, and that's why when I wrote that script, I wanted people to understand that I didn't come here, and a lot of us didn't come here because we didn't have an option. We didn't come here because there was war in the country. We didn't come here like maybe we're displaced. Like we didn't come here because we were um, um, maybe being persecuted for whatever reason. We
Yeah.
came here, like, those are valid reasons why people leave.
Yes.
But for immigrant professionals, and that's why I'm always very precise with our words, like, these are immigrant professionals. It was a dream. And I'm just one. I'm just a representative of that class
Yes.
of immigrants,
Yes.
Canadian immigrants. It was a dream. Whether it was a 2 year dream for you, whether it was 3 years or 1 year, or whether it was a copycat's dream for you, it was a dream nonetheless. And you planned and staked everything. For me, it was a 19-year dream. People found it difficult to believe. Like, 19 years, I'm like, yeah, it's not, I'm not even kidding. For 19 years, that was my dream. So when you leave everything behind, I mean, I planned. Like, if you look behind me, there are tons of certificates and things like that I put on my wall behind. And
Mm.
just, that's some. I can't even put everything, just some. Before I even applied for anything, I'd reached out to the IT organization, the IT body here. We call them CIPS, Canadian Information Processing Society. They're
Yeah.
like the Society of Nigeria. They set the
Okay. Okay. Okay.
standards for all
Yeah.
that. So I reached out to them. They have their certifications. I went through everything. They had a senior one. I had not applied for immigration at all at the time back in Nigeria. So I was preparing and wanting to ensure that I was ready, right? And I
Yeah.
sold a dream. Even with my wife, when I was, all this, and I talked about that and in the speech, like, even with my wife, like, I'm like, the person I was marrying, like, I'm going to travel. I think it's going to be Canada. I'm not sure, but I know that when I'm going to leave abroad, is that okay with you? Be, so that if she said it wasn't okay, we're not even going to court each other, because
Yeah.
I knew I was going to move. So, like, this year makes it how many years? 21 years that we've been married. So, and I'm talking about a dream, that influenced even my marriage.
Your marriage plans.
Do you get? So, and then I got married and everything. We moved, we did everything. And then I planned, like, and then I got here and things didn't pan out.
Yeah.
And it's not just that they didn't pan out. Maybe if I was single, okay, maybe. But there was a certain level of comfort that my family was used to. When I got here, it was not the same. Like, we actually regressed. And maybe that's not so much as a challenge, but the challenge was I couldn't really see, I couldn't see the light. The way people
The
say
light.
light,
Yeah. You couldn't see. You know how
I,
they say you see the end of the tunnel, and you're like,
yeah, I said the light
I.
at the end of the tunnel. I really couldn't see it. I think that was the biggest challenge. That I couldn't see. Like, if you're doing something, I don't know. I knew it was temporary, but the question is, for how long? And there was no path. It doesn't matter who I talk to. There was no specification. Like, if you do this, then you get that. If you do that, then, like, there was no formula. There is a quote I came across some years back. It says, I don't even remember the name of the source, but it says something like, "Dear traveler, there is no path. The path is making by going on the journey." Something like
Yeah.
that. And that's really, for me, that's the immigrant journey.
Mm.
There is no. I
Mm.
wish that people have asked me, like, okay, what
Yeah.
do I need to do? And I see all these people also on LinkedIn, on everywhere, and they say, oh, if you do this, I've done this. This is the way.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah.
I just look, I just smile, and I move on.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
realistically,
Gosh,
like,
that one. That's so good. Yeah.
where's the path? Where's the formula? Like, there isn't. And that was my, again, when you are in the low points, for me, I'm a person of faith, and that helps to keep me going. I hang my, I just hang my belief on, okay, there is a higher being, there is God, and He's taking care of me. And all these things that look like a mess that I don't understand, you take care of it. But that's me. But as a human being, I still come back to myself a lot of times, and I'm
Yes.
like, wait, okay, I get it. Yes, somebody's taking care of, but when now?
But
When?
when
Give me
I
a
like
date.
when?
Oh, okay, just tell me, do this and it will be this. The fact that I
Oh
couldn't
gosh.
so that was the frustration. And obviously, I was looking at our bank account, thing was going down. The bills stay the same and even sometimes will increase. And then, so I'm like, that started to put fear in me
Yeah.
that, hey, the way this thing is going, at some point we'll be out of money. I'll tell you this, Dozie, there was a day, at some point, there was actually a day that um, we couldn't pay our house rent. I'm like, where do I get it? I have my kids are there, my wife was there, and I was supposed to pay. You know how much that was? $825. I didn't have. I'm like, what am I going to do? And that woman, our landlady, was waiting. I just remembered, wait, I brought with us, for some weird reason, I couldn't even explain, Diamond Bank credit card at the time. This was 2012, 2013. I brought it along. It wasn't used, it wasn't anything. But so I said, let me even try. Maybe I can get some money from here. So I went to Scotia Bank and I said, let me try it. I just tried one small amount. So at least if it works,
Then
I
you go
tried.
again.
Cash came out. I said, cash from Nigeria here to Scotia Bank. Before I just felt, before this ATM would change its mind.
Change his mind.
Put it there. I quickly, that's how we paid 1 month. Of course, we paid that money back and all that. But I got to a point where there was a day, this one was very, we had barely $10, $10 left. And I'm like, wait, what do we do? Food, gas in the car. We need gas in the car, but we need food. But what do I do with $10? These are realities of mine. So, and it was just that painful because I'm like, I prepared for this thing. So
Yeah.
there's a point where if we're not careful, the problem leaves the physical and it enters into you. And at that point, I started to see myself like I'm failing. Like I
Yeah.
was becoming a failure. Or like I couldn't even plan something as simple as this. Of course, we know immigration is not simple, but you get to that point, you start to doubt yourself. I'm like, okay, do I even have the skills that I thought I had? Me?
Yeah.
Getting to that point. So that's really the thing. And when you look at it, and at the end of the day, when I got my first professional job, I say the same organization that I had applied for severally and they wouldn't even talk to me and everything. When I went there, somebody introduced me, and I mean, it was through a program I attended, and they got me, and I was supposed to be there on that program for 3 months internship. And day 4 of the program, my manager offered me a full-time employment. I was supposed to be there for 3 months. 3 months. 4 days with him, he offered me full-time employment. 4 days instead of 3 months. 4 days into it, it was like, guy, what's going on? What's your plan? I'm like, why? What? Like, what? And he said, I want to hire you. Because day 1 that I joined, they handed projects to me. Typically, when you join an organization, what do they tell you?
I'm going to go on board.
On board, you start telling us, no, I didn't have that. My own onboarding was my project. Straight, it was my project. Day 1, 3 projects or 4 of them. Day 1. And then day 4, because of the output,
Yeah.
the guy gave me an offer straight up. Say, hey, of course, because of the program that I have, they delayed it. Like, that's too fast. Hang on, that's too fast. So they delayed it for like 6 weeks. But in fact, the HR lady who handled she's my friend now. She's from which country? I think one African country. They speak French, maybe Cameroon or so. I saw her a few months back, and she was still telling me that story, that when my manager came to her, she was in HR, to say that you want to hire her, she was like, are you okay? Like, what kind of thing? Like, that's non-normal. Like, you don't hire but the guy ended up hiring me anyway. So when you look at that, that told me that the problem I was facing was not personal, it was systemic. It told me I wasn't the problem. It was the system in which I was working, the system I was trying to navigate. I was navigating forces that I wasn't even aware were there. Interestingly or amazingly, I've realized as well that some of the people that actually seemingly hold the key or the ace to a better future for immigrant professionals, some of them are caught in the web. They are also operating within a system that they are used to, and they never even realize that it's wrong. A lot of things are wrong. A lot
Yeah.
of things are actually designed against a certain set of people. They don't know. Some know. I won't deny that. But a good number don't even know. They just feel because that's their normal. Meanwhile, we come in here and even ourselves, we don't know. So
Yeah.
this thing just,
You can't know what you don't know, right?
do
Like the
you understand?
systems, yeah.
You're just wondering. I mean, there's a lot of sensitization these days, but at a time, like, we just don't know what we don't know. And beyond all that, apart from struggling to take care of the family, it affected me mentally. Today we talk about
Oh
mental
yeah.
health. I didn't even know
Oh
what I
yeah.
was taught. I didn't even know
Oh
what it
yeah.
was because I was very moody. I was very irate, and every small thing just flare up and things. It's just because of everything happening around me. And do I blame my family for whatever? I mean, we all had not lived. See, there are too many things stacked against us. We had not lived abroad before. We had not lived and experienced a situation where we were short of money. We had not lived in that low quality of life that we initially experienced. We had not lived like that before. We had not lived in a cold environment. So we were all also going through changes that we didn't realize.
Yeah.
Because we had not gone through it before, nobody could even plan to say this is how I was going to respond. I'm going to respond.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? We
Yeah.
could. It was pure unknown for everybody. Anyway, I don't know. I've probably rambled on and on, but I'm just telling.
No.
That's the real.
Gosh.
You know, yeah, that's really what led to that TEDx. And like, people need to, of course. Yeah, that's how I started immigrant life, because again, I'm this kind of person. If I've gone through something, I just want to share my experience with people. I just want to talk to people. Just maybe it will help one person. I just move on. I don't care. 1 million, it doesn't matter. One, that's okay. I move on. And if it doesn't help anybody, no problem. So at least it's out there. It's on record. So I used to find myself all over the place, talking. Even Canadian immigrant, these people in Toronto coming here, they used to approach me every time I used to be there, speak for them here in Calgary. I used to do all those things very actively, those days, blah, 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 and everything. But after a while, I was getting tired. Like, is there a way
To
I can,
systemize this.
yes, you understand? Like, I can't continue like this. Like, what can I do differently? And then I searched, and then I realized there was something called a podcast. What we're doing now, I never knew it existed. No idea. Zero. Very ignorant guy like that. No idea. So, but I'm a tech person, so I, I did backward engineering. There's a there's a guy, I've forgotten his name now. Oh gosh, he's in the US. I've even met him. I've met him at a conference, took pictures together. Very great guy. I respected his podcast so much. He had a course that he was selling, but I'm like, no, I'm not paying for any course on this. But so I used to listen to. I started listening to his podcast. So I did backward engineering, like everything he did, and I'm tech, so I will go inspect the website, did this, do that. Is the way he said, I'm telling you, the way he saved his the file name for his recording. I just
Oh
like I
gosh.
learned, I just observed everything in details, his show notes, everything. That's how I learned. And then I did some investigation, then I said, okay, I start from here. That's how I did that. Eventually Canada did 2018. I just started. I'm like, I'm just going to start anyway. When I go back and I listen to my first one, I'm even embarrassed. These days, I just want to close that, and I just want to stop it. Like, I don't want to hear, is it me? Like, what happened here? But anyway, I started anyhow, and over time, and I just found that with the years going, I was learning more about what's going on and the systemic issues and all that. So I thought it's time we start speaking up about this thing.
Yeah.
I tried a TEDx event here in Calgary years ago. It didn't work out. They didn't. It wasn't time. Is what I would say. Like, another rejection there. I just moved on with my life as always. Anyway, so until I saw this one, and then fortunately, I was one of the few that got accepted for it, and yeah, it was. I think it was. It was a
It
good
was
one.
good. It was really good. I would say it was really good. It was really good. And you raised some very important points about the first one is that idea of the immigrant as a monolith,
Yeah.
which is where you see people just, and it kind of ties to the thing where you see someone saying, "This is how I did it." When I'm advising, I say,
Yeah.
like, let me preface. Dozier had probably had this privilege, or Dozier had this thing going for him, and so this is why I did it this way. So I'm just telling you my story, which is part of why I started the unicorns, because I say I don't want to give advice. I want to tell stories, because if I tell stories, then sometimes you hear yourself in one story. Because I don't expect you to listen to all the episodes, because you listen to some and it doesn't suit you because that's not your context. But you see a story and it will resonate with you because that's your context. And you can say, oh, this is how he did it. I can start thinking and learning from that. Because no story is the same. Like you said,
No.
that quote you made about that quote you shared about, the journey is you
The
deep.
journey.
You just
There is no
opening up.
path.
Yeah, you're just opening your own path, and
Yeah.
every single block you lay to set up a new route is dependent on the pain you are in at that point in time, what you knew at that point in time, the advice you got at that point in time. It's very different from someone else. Someone else will probably lay a different path because of who they are, what they had going for them, which is why I struggle with people when they kind of say immigrant. I'm like, yo, in that immigrant is like 1 billion different combinations. Like 1 billion different combinations of people and things.
But you bring up a really good point, and I'll tell you. You said it sounds like a joke, but even research has it that within all immigrant ecosystem and everything, maybe I'm jumping ahead, but that we all have different identity markers. It's not the same. And that singular point, oftentimes misses the bar when it comes to programming that are set up to support immigrant professionals. It's often missed out a lot. We usually just, I'm into software, so I was going to use an analogy, but forget about it. It's usually, we focus on more on very tangible, clear things like how many years of experience do you have, what's profession, what's this, which, where you come. We forget a lot of other intangibles that are so critical. Just like they say, actually, just like they say in employment, a lot of times people that are let go, they're not oftentimes let go because of their hard skills. It's usually the soft skills. That's what gets them into trouble. You see, communication.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with immigrants, right? Our perception, our background, our cultural, nuances, our journey, which, like you said, it's really our journeys are so unique and yet so similar.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And I think the similarity is in the struggles that we have, the common struggles that we face, and the common outcome that we all look for. I think that's as far as the similarities go.
I would
We
even
all we
I
all
would
want
even
similar things, right?
no, I would even dare add that, just is an additional layer to that. Is that one of the things the world does is the world says Chinese, Nigerian, Indian, Cameroonian. And I agree there's that.
Yeah.
But you see that point you make about being unique and similar is the fact that if you moved, I'll start with this example. I always make this joke that I feel like if I went to every country in the world, I would find, by the time I visit them, I'll find someone that looks like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either physically or physiologically.
Or even the way you think.
Even the way you think, exactly.
The way you approach things. You just say,
yeah.
this guy reminds me of...
Exactly. So you'll be wondering, like, is this a Dapo in Korea?
Exactly.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And which kind of goes back to that identity marker thing, which is that even when you bring immigrant programming and you design it based around an outcome, I need them to learn how to speak English, or I need them to get a job. What you've done is you've simplified the outcome. And I'm not saying that's not a good outcome, but it's more like, and I think this kind of segues nicely into what you're building right now. It's more like saying, is how do you find ways to build pods of similar immigrants who share the same goal, the same thing, the same common outcomes, and help them together to find their way. Instead of saying you bring 100 people together, you take one person who probably doesn't even understand where they're coming from or what they're dealing with, and that person comes with the I'm saving you mentality, and they deliver the saving grace over to the poor souls who need to be saved. And then you wonder why after they are frustrated and they just sit down there and look lost. You are preaching to them. They don't need to be preached to. They need to be guided. I mean, there's these people from Impact Foundation. I'm getting very passionate right now. There's this Fatima Al-Hosseini, Impact Foundation. They did a research. They say immigrants, the biggest immigrant wants is belonging. And I would dare say, like, that thing itself, underneath that belonging is just all the other things that flow from there, which is basically, if you break it down, it's really, immigrants are just finding people who understand them and who don't make them feel like they are the other person. That's just what immigrants are looking for.
I want to drop a mic for you. That's the end. We're done.
No, but honestly, like, because I get, like, I have sometimes when I see some programming outcomes, I'm like, what were you expecting before? Like, what were you expecting? You thought that was going to work?
I know.
I can't see some things here because of I want to respect myself.
Please.
If I get arrested, because sometimes some things I'll see, I'll be like, Canada. It's all good. But tell me about Mentorfy, sorry, because let's talk about sweet things.
I know.
Let's talk about nice things, please. Tell me about Mentorfy, because I really like that stuff you're building, and it ties into what we're talking about. Basically, it's like, how do you bring people together that understand themselves and help the ones who are coming up build a better life professionally? I mean, and I feel like, would it be right to assume that Mentorfy is built off all the things you faced off while coming up this past decade in Canada?
Okay, I'll tell you. I like the way you ask the questions. So, I mean, in simple, I think straightforward answer, I'll say yes and more, actually. Mentorfy is a software platform, right? So it's a software platform that enables organizations to create, to manage, and to scale, their mentoring programs. It's B2B, literally. Like, it's for organizations to set it up, either for internal use or for external use. But of course, there is a union, there's an intersection there with immigrant professionals. It was in 2013, I believe it was February. This is why it's good to actually write things down. I wrote this not on a physical paper, but in a Word document on my laptop about a dream I had about mentoring, out based off of my experience, my positive experience or the lack of it. That was February 2013. And I just put it down, the things I thought one day maybe I'll do those kind of things. It was just, and then I forgot about it. I just moved on with my life. Until I came across this thing. So, I mean, I work with immigrant serving organizations quite a lot, and, support and all that. And one of my contacts reached out to me in 2022 to say, hey, we're trying to do this. Can you do this for us? Of course, I'm an IT person and all that, into all this. Can you build this for us? Like essentially, can you build a platform like this for us? And I'm like, sure. Typical, oh yeah, sure. Then I later will think, wait, what did you just
Wait,
say?
what did you agree to do?
So I said, sure, I can. And then, we met multiple times and we captured the requirements of the organizations and everything. And they said, okay, we'll pay you and you do this. I'm like, but can you wait? This is building. I'm not buying the software for you. We're building from scratch. Can you wait? I'm like, yeah, sure. We'll wait. We'll pay you. Just take. Go do what you need to do. And when you're ready, you let us know. So, so I thought, wait, I can either build this just for them, or that was when I remembered, wait, you had some ideas before. So I went back. I started searching. I didn't even know. I just knew that I had that thing on my laptop. So I was searching different folders. Everywhere. I found it.
How
I'm
long did it
like,
take to find it though? Was it like a day or two?
probably, yeah, probably actually, because I was searching, so many keywords were coming up in my head,
I can
searching, and
imagine.
this will come up, and I have to go through the documents and read, and then I close it. No, it's not this one. That I go ahead and so yeah, probably like a day or two. Eventually, I found this. So I'm like, so I build it for them, and that's it. And each time they want to make changes or something changes, they come back, we build them and things like it. Or maybe it's time for me to build what I planned. So I went back. I'm like, hey, this is the deal. This and amazingly they were just okay with that. So that's why I'm like, okay, sure, let's go for it. So that's why I said I just started. So I started, and we were just two of us at the time, and we were writing the requirements ourselves. Got their requirement, distilling it out, and like hands on building this thing out ourselves, myself and a lady, a friend of mine. She's in Dubai actually. So we started working on this together. And eventually, it got to a point where like, okay, we maxed out our own capacity. Then we brought in some other people, just like that, and on and on and on and on. So that's how Mentorfy came to be. And of course, these people we've already rolled out. They started using it for their programs, and they're good and all. But the nice thing about it is anybody else can use it, right?
Mhm.
It's not built just for them, just for anybody. So yes, back to your question, which is is it based on my experience? Absolutely based on my experience. But of course, this particular organization as well is an immigrant serving organization. So definitely immigrant inputs on how things work, where they're
Yeah.
looking at the problems they're already facing and things like that. It was formed the baseline for the requirement. So so it helps you like recently you're aware we just decided, let's drink our own Kool-Aid. Because over the years as well, different people will reach out to me. They want me, I can mentor them. They all ask questions. Need somebody to talk to. Some are here. Some I've had talks with people in Nunavut. I've had in Yellowknife. I've had all sort of weird places, Quebec, all over the place. And also, people have reached out to me saying, how can we help you? Number one, the immigrant life that I started, it's not a corporate entity. It's just a brand. It's just an outlet for me, right? In fact, I spend money into it by
Yeah.
having it, right? Personally. So every time people say, "Hey, can I help you?" I'm sorry, I can't take money from you because I'm not registered. I'm not doing, that sort of thing. Okay, there is also no structure. You're like, okay, can we help? Some will offer, from Saskatchewan, from all over the place. Okay, we can help support people. Can you send
Mm.
people our way? So I will send people uh, to different people. But what happens after that? No idea, right? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't really. I try to follow, but it's just on me, and I have the same 24 hours that everybody has, and I
Yeah.
need to sleep like 7, 8 hours out of the 24, and then I need to eat for so
And then there's
it's
family,
and
and
then
there's the husband to do.
so all those things are there. So I realized it got to my limit. So we decided, what, just a few months ago, we said we shouldn't just leave this for other people to use. Maybe it's time for me to use this platform that we've built to multiply my own individual efforts. And that's why we came up with the whole Mentorfy Accent. And we have two tracks. There's the Mentorfy Accent, which is the one that's out now, and there's the Ignite. So they're two different tracks, but the same bold future that we imagine for everybody, that people can thrive and become who they envision themselves to be in this their new society.
Yeah.
Now, the Ignite track just is for people who are new. In fact, I struggled, I'll be very honest with you, but I talked to people here and there, and like I struggled to keep that one. The Ignite is for newcomers, you new in Canada, immigrant professional. Again, immigrant professional, because we want to ensure, because immigrant professional, our orders are different, our battles are different. Before
Yeah.
we come, we are not the ones that come here to learn English.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't matter from where you come, whether we didn't come here to learn English. So
Yeah.
we all those things had been assessed before and we've been deemed, and then we're here. So but I thought there were just so many people already taking care of that group of people when it comes to mentoring. Now, whether it's being done right or not, that's a different conversation. Whether the
Yeah.
outcome is yielding what it's supposed to yield, that's a different conversation. I can't
Yeah.
speak to that too much for different reasons. But so I thought there's no need for me, like, what am I bringing that's going to be different for that group? Maybe I shouldn't. But some people say, no, keep it, and then you just have it all. So I said, okay, fine. So, and that's why, but there's this other group, which is where I think the rubber really meets the road for us as immigrant professionals. And that's in getting to places of leadership.
Hmm.
That is where we'll have real influence because there's, honestly, if you check immigrants, like particularly first generation Canadians, a lot of us are here, we're more or less in survival mode.
Tell me about it.
Not because we want to, but it's
Tell me
just
about
like,
it.
we find ourselves just fighting and fighting and
Tell
fighting,
me about it.
pushing. After a while, you're just exhausted. You're like, you know what? I'm okay now. Just leave me. I'm fine. As long as I can take care of my family, I'm okay. But I do, and that's fine if really that's what you want, as long as it's not a system that's pushing you to stay there. Do you get what I
Yeah.
mean? As if it is you yourself that has decided that, you know what, I really, this is just what I want, that's okay. But if it is a system, it's because of the too many obstacles along your way that is
Yeah.
keeping you there and
Yeah.
making you to lose hope,
Yeah.
then I want to address. Those are the people who want to help with the ascent. So it's for mentoring program for those who want to step into leadership, or you're
Mm-hmm.
already a leader and you want to go a notch higher, just a step higher. That's why we created that. So that track, we're leaning on immigrant professionals themselves, and that's why the kind of mentors that we're accepting, that people, you must have walked that journey,
Yes. Oh, you have
or
to, please. Please, you have to.
yeah, or at the very least, you've been so intimate with this category of people that you get it. Like, I don't want to have a mentor. Like, like you can have it. That's not the point. But it's draining when you have to explain yourself and your journey and your struggles over and over
Over.
and over and over again. It's draining. So, and a lot of, I just see that that's a fundamental gap. And until people like you and I, other immigrant professionals, first generation Canadians, get to that point, that position of influence where we can actually change and influence the system, we will stay where we are. This glass ceiling will stay there for a long time. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do. That, okay, are there people who've gone along? Can you come around and hold somebody else by the hand? And those things you wished somebody showed you or talked to you about, can you show this person? Or if it's just somebody to listen to you, somebody
Yeah.
who gets you, that sort of thing. So that's what we're doing, and I'm happy to say, yeah, we're having good. People are signing up very well, and I don't know if I have one more minute to talk about
Yeah, no,
something.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have one time. Yeah.
yeah, I have. Okay. So, and the way we've built, there's so many, platforms out there, but the way we built Mentorfy as well is, of course, the technology is there to do whatever you you want it to do. But what we've also done is, when it comes to matching, because research wise, there is definitely um, uh, there are publications that just testify, testament to the fact that there are oftentimes a lot of mismatches when it comes to mentoring. Mismatches because expectation management, it's wrong. What you expect as a mentor, what you expect as a mentee, it's not
Yeah, I was
aligned.
going to ask how you're dealing with that.
Yeah, the program objective itself is different and things like that. And then, we just don't want to be part of that problem. So Mentorfy actually allows you to solve the problem. How? So we've done it in such a way that as a program admin for your own mentoring program, you can define whatever matching criteria that you want. You can create literally anything. You want to match people according to postal code, all the best. According to years of experience, all the best. The language they speak, all the best. Gender, all the best. This, whatever. You can literally do whatever you want. Okay? And that's fine. But beyond that, we also feel that, you know, um, these are adults. And when I meet somebody and I have a few, like, what, that thing you said sometime during this conversation, where, that savior mentality.
Yes.
We're trying to address that. And we've addressed that with the platform. So whatever the program admins design to say, okay, let the system match this person and this person. We don't do forced marriage here. We don't force people to, again, we're adults. So anything you like, you can design. Automatic technology matching when it comes to us, to Mentorfy, is then the system looks in the database and say, based on this, then it suggests Dapo to Dozie, or Dapo to Mary, or Mary to Christina, whatever, right? Now, we then leave the two people
to decide,
to discuss. So it's not, you are not coming to save me. We're trying to see if we can work together. I want to know whether Dozie gets me. Do you understand? So we'll have that conversation. And if you think that Dozie actually looks like the kind of person that I want to work with, I accept. Then we can start. If I feel Dozie doesn't, so it's not because a lot of all this program is the program admins that say,
they're like the lords of the program. It's
exactly. It's like you have to work together. This is the person you need. Fair enough. I mean, whatever. But we just seen that over time, even the research is there. This does not work. Yeah. So because there are contexts and nuances that you want, so we just leave the people to be the final decision makers on who they want to work with, and if they're good, and then they agree on all those things, and then they are well on their way. And of course, the structure is there where people cannot just disappear on you. We know where you're engaged. The system is checking all that without being intrusive, right? There are metrics that we design based on, again, feedback from those who are already using the system. We know, and the system will nudge you. Oh, you guys have not been in touch between this day and that. Like, are you guys okay? And then keeping yourselves accountable as well. We'll keep you accountable. If you're a mentor, if you're a mentee, we keep you accountable. Because as a mentee, you need to set your goals, your milestones, or whatever it is. You keep it in the system. We do not allow the mentor to set goals for you for obvious reasons. You guys will talk. Again, that's part of the expectation. You have an agreement. This is where I'm going and all that. You set the goals. The mentee cannot set goals for you. You set your goals, but the mentee can see the goals that you set. Right? And then can keep you accountable and say, hey, what's going on with this? And even if you don't even go back to your mentee to talk for a while, as long as you update your progress in the system, the mentor is seeing it and say, okay, this guy is making progress, and kind of thing. And you can, so we have a clear structure that helps people to move through it without getting lost. And the program administrator doesn't need to get to a point where people check out mentally, because that happens more often than you want to communicate.
It's not almost every time. Like, it's almost every time, basically, because you do the first call and you go like, he doesn't or she doesn't get me. Like, she's literally trying to force fit her situation into my experience, and I'm like, and so you either, if it's a system that you paid for, you just come in there and complete the cycle of your supposed meetings, and then you walk away and you're like, that was a waste of time.
That was it. So we allow that. So all that we see all those kind of things in advance, and the administrators can quickly step in. And if you have to change your mentor or mentee, that's okay. That's all that early enough before you go too far into the system. But again, the ultimate vision really is we want more and more of immigrant professionals, especially first generation Canadians, to get into positions of influence where they can help redesign because they get it. Once you've walked through that door of being an immigrant and you've gone through, you've faced the fire, you've gotten burnt before, it's easier for you to actually see what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's easier when you get into the right rooms, then it's easier for you to be that voice. Even if you're the lone voice.
Yeah, but you're talking.
But you're talking. We want to give you that confidence. We want to give you that, so that's what we're trying to achieve. And I'm hoping that this really will work out.
Honestly, like, I'm so enthused about it. Like, I love that you're doing that. Honestly, like, I really love that you're doing that because we need to have those conversations of, this is what worked for me. This is your context. This is how I think you should approach it. Go try that and let me know what happens. And then you have someone that you can say, hey, I tried that. It didn't work out. It's like, oh, okay. But what did you learn? And then how do you do it better next time? I think we're rounding up right now. I think I'm going to ask you the hardest question as the last question.
Oh my goodness! Okay,
I kept it for the one. That's one. And it's just basically, I hear you when you say you are prepared and all that, and you came and the system didn't exactly work out. But when you look back on your journey right now, is there anything you think you could have done differently? When you look back on your journey with all the prep and everything, and then what you experienced here, do you think you could have done anything differently? I'm sorry.
Can we take this part out of the podcast?
This is the best question. Why do we do that?
Why are you like this?
This is the best question. Why are we going to do that? Like, this is the best question ever.
Okay, so let me see. That's an interesting one, really. In terms of my preparations, okay, first, no, let me not start from there. I'm going to start from there. Knowing what I know now and what I went through, would I still choose to immigrate to Canada if I was to start all over again? Yes, I would do it.
Okay.
I'm not even. It's not. There's no discussion there. I would do it all over again.
Okay.
The second thing is I prepared. That I nobody can argue about that. I prepared. I was ready. I did everything. Would I change that? No. I would repeat that all over again. I think the one thing that is missing that I would do differently will be to get into a mentoring program before coming here. Actual mentoring program before moving here. That's one thing. I'm not talking about all those pre-arrival workshops and those things that we didn't do.
I did not attend that. I did not go to one of those things. One.
It didn't even exist when we were coming.
Oh, okay. When we landed, my wife talks to some lady, like, great lady. I gave her that. She knew her job. I'm listening to the call and I'm just like, these folks aren't ready for me, I bet. She's like, are you going to sign? I'm like, no, I'm not signing up there. What am I going to go and spend 2 weeks listening to someone talk about stuff I already know how to do? Like, I'm sorry, I'd rather spend that time talking to people on LinkedIn just to get a sense of what's happening in the market. Exactly. Which is what I did. Like, just go talk to people. Exactly. Talk to people and build friendships and connections. Yeah. Because you're right. That's part of what the mentoring program does for you. I tell people that there's something I did before I landed here, which was called informational interviews, which is where I was just reaching out to people and be like, hey, I'm moving to Canada. I just want to talk to you to learn more about the industry. But one good thing it did for me was before I got here, I knew how to sell myself to a Canadian because I had spent time talking to them. And I don't know. So which is why I really like the idea of a mentoring program, because what that does for you is that you build friends, you build confidence in yourself, you build confidence in the story you're telling to yourself.
Yeah.
Not even you're telling to other people.
Yeah.
Story you're telling
True.
to yourself. Because as an immigrant, your biggest struggle is the story you tell yourself. God, that thing kills it.
Yeah.
It messes up with my first 1 year here. Even though I prepared like you. First 1 year was like I started this podcast to sort out the mess in my head.
Do you know there was a guy? I don't know the guy from Adam. The guy reached out from the US when I just started the podcast. I don't know him from Adam. He just reached out because that my email tribe@immigrantlife.ca. He just sent me a mail. I'm sure if I search it, it's still there. And the guy was like, "I'm really, really enjoying what you're doing, but I have a question for you. Is it that you go through therapy session as you actually have this podcast?"
Yes, that's what it is. Yes, that's what it is.
I didn't realize that, but he was seeing it, that it feels like it's a therapy session for me.
Yes.
And that's why I laughed when you said it, because it really helps to, to sort what's going on.
Yes. Yes.
And to also process what has
happened. Yes.
And that's how you're able to move beyond it. Because one of the things the guy said in that email is that he said, in fact, there was a particular one where I was sharing about how I lost my job, my full-time job, sometime in 2015. And I was sharing that experience and I was laughing. And the guy said, I find it interesting that you laugh and you smile about that, but that what you described actually wasn't funny. I don't know that guy I'm telling you, I don't know him from Eve, but I know very sure he's from the US. He just emailed, because I was like, just email me, and try and people just send emails, and he said that. So you're right. I'm just
oh my gosh. It was to sort out the mess in my head, because and you're right. I've heard people call you therapy because there are also some people I've interviewed who say, Dozier, thank you. This is the first time I had time to sit down and process all I went through.
See,
because what we do as immigrants, we go through this and we chalk it up inside. There's this lady, their episode is coming out soon. They're called Kisa. They're doing this Uber. I'm sure you see them driving Canada.
Oh
series.
yeah, I saw it on TV.
Anam Zakari, Anam and Haroon. Anam said that we need to stop glorifying resilience. We need to stop glorifying resilience. Let's stop it. Let's stop glorifying the immigrant resilience. Like, please, let's stop glorifying it. I loved her for that statement. I was like, yes. We should stop glorifying resilience.
Yeah, because we kind of like set the standards, try to set a standard or a benchmark for other people
to suffer.
But the question is, should you really go through
that? Yeah, there's an immigrant suffering index.
Right? Dozier went through this and it was
this. Why can you? Nothing's happening to you.
Exactly. Like, what are you talking about, right? But the question is, should Dozier have gone through that? Can we answer that question?
The immigrant journey, God did.
It's a continuum, like you.
Thank you so much, man. Gosh. Like that one. Thank you. Thank you. Really, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Like I appreciate you inviting me and then we having this conversation. You never know. I just want to also, of course, encourage yourself, because I know this can be quite lonely.
Yeah.
You get sometimes. I'll get to point and asking myself, why am I even doing all these things? Like I already have enough challenges on my plate. Why? Like what exactly? What are you looking for? Right? So you get to that point, but I want to say, honestly, keep it up. I had an experience that was literally life-changing for me, or perspective-changing for me once. I was in Vancouver at a client's office years ago, and I was on the phone in a meeting, right? Just talking, and after, when I disconnected from that call, there was a guy that walked up to me and he was like, "Are you Dapo?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, "Oh, nice meeting you. I'm XYZ." That apparently the guy was from Ukraine. He was only there briefly. It's also on a project like myself. And he told me that he discovered my podcast online. And every time he was that he was Ukrainian and he lived in Ukraine. He was not Canadian, but he just came here. I think he comes every now and then for stuff. And he said every time on his way to work that he used to listen to my podcast. Weird. And my first question is like, why? Like you don't have any other, like literally you don't have any other thing to do to listen to. Like,
Yeah.
no, but he said he just found my stories interesting. Never really had that perspective. He comes to Canada, but he leaves,
Yeah.
But he just found, and what that told me is you just never know who is listening. I don't
Yeah.
know beyond the fact that the guy was curious and he found all the stories interesting. I don't know what else he was doing for him.
Yeah.
And guess what? He recognized it was my voice. We have a frequency. Our voice is an identity. It's not the
Yeah.
first time that was happening to me. I've been in places where people like, in fact, I go to church and one day I met somebody who was like, do you attend? No, not do you attend. It was like, do you usually sit blah 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 in front, in Center Street Church when you go there? I'm like, yeah. He said, oh, I know that voice that usually sits like 2 or 3 rows ahead, and he hears me when I sing. So anyway, it's weird. So it's not the first time somebody will identify the voice, but it's just interesting that somebody is total stranger that I didn't know from Adam. We're in the same office, and he said he was always listening to me in Ukraine. So you just never know who is listening and who needs what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just
Thanks,
say,
man. Like, thanks. Like,
just-
I appreciate that, honestly. Thanks. Like,
it's,
because you're right. Like, sometimes it's a journey.
yeah.
It's a journey. But I also love what I'm doing. So I'm just like, I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as possible. But thank you so much. And thanks for that encouragement. I appreciate that a ton. I was very passionate on this one, right? Too passionate at sometimes, I think. But yeah, the immigrant journey hits me different. Thank you so much for getting to this point. I appreciate that you're here. I appreciate you listening to this. I appreciate just all the support. I really do. If you know someone who finds it useful, please share with them. If you know someone you should talk to, please send them our way and we'll get them on the pod. As always, like, share, subscribe on Substack, YouTube. Anywhere you get your podcast, you'll find us there. Thank you so much, people. Peace out.